When I got married to my first husband, the shit hit the fan.
As my dad says to me, first time you make a mistake in life, it's a mistake. The second time you make the same mistake in life, it's a stuff-up.
Definitely leaving the kids behind, that was not meant to be part of the dream plan.
No, I just thought I'd never do it again. That's honest. But obviously that all changed.
Why did I do it? I fell madly, hopelessly in love for the second time in my life.
Hello, gorgeous. Oh. It's about two families, step kids, in-laws, the works. It's about two families coming together.
There is no easy out. You know, there is no easy alternative. Once you've had children with someone, you are connected with that person indefinitely.
Honestly, I thought, no, I'm not doing this again. That was, been through it once, you don't want to go through it again. I was 24 when I got married. My ex-wife then was 21. Well, it's like anything, you get married and you think that's for life, and you do everything together. We did everything together as a family. Obviously, you want to own your house, own your car. My ex-wife and the kids shifted to Perth, so it wasn't only a loss losing my partner, my wife then, but I also lost my 3 kids to Western Australia.
Very good. All the very best to you both. Long live the bride and groom.
When you've had the last 8 years contending with kids, getting them ready for school and doing things with the kids, playing, and it sort of makes it different when you wake up and you're just by yourself. The only thing that was on your mind then, to be honest, is what's the point of living? And that's honest, that goes through your mind, is what's the point of being here? It's been 6 years and you've sort of got to get on with it, but it's hard. The first year, don't get me wrong, it's not like 1 or 2 months and you're over it. It's the first year or two and it's sort of still hard, you know.
I guess every girl's dream is to meet her Prince Charming and to get married and to have the fairy tale wedding and the happily ever after ending. Yes, it was the most amazing time. The whole traditional Sikh Punjabi weddings, you know, we left in horse and cart and we did the works. This family come from overseas. I think we had about 500 people, you know. 3 weeks of celebrations, basically. But then coming back and having the responsibilities of the new daughter-in-law in a household, it's a new experience. And for a lot of people, it can be a shock. I'm not a subservient woman, and I think I tried to be. And to all of a sudden be in a position where I was left financially dependent, as well as physically and emotionally dependent on someone, was a hard process. And that's something that's a part of the culture and the traditions of Indian background. But there's only so long you can live that sort of lie. You can't be someone that you're not. We basically ended up with this petrol station in the country. And so, me being me and ready to take on any challenge and not knowing anything about petrol whatsoever, we ended up going into it head over heels. So I was there for a few weeks and I was there with my sisters. And then started talking to him one of the times he comes in, and he used to work at the BP. And I said, oh, I could do with somebody with a bit of experience in this place to help me get things moving. So he started working for us.
One thing led to another. One day we'll work both summer mowing lawns and just couldn't keep our eyes off each other.
It was hot and, yeah, it was glances going on and I'm thinking, OK, Jamil, don't break the cardinal rule. He is an employee.
You wanted to give her a kiss, but we were both sort of nervous there, but yeah, the heart sort of goes up a few hundred beats and it races and...
It was heart-pounding, freaking out, thinking, oh, gosh, he's the employee. Jamil, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? But at the same time, it was like, well, why not? You know, I deserve to be loved and I deserve a bit of passion and I deserve a kiss. So just kiss me.
I can still remember the kiss now, so it's actually beautiful, you know.
And, yeah, here we are, 4 years later. So that was basically how we met.
The happy, healthy family? Oh, let's see. How many of them are on medication now? Sam, breakfast is up.
Ruth, you know the rules. Breakfast, medication. Sam, get your bag ready. Step families, well, they didn't exist as far as I know or that I'd ever heard of in the 70s and 80s. They existed, I know, but it was unheard of and they were more or less the exception to the rule. Today, I feel it's more the rule than the exception from what I've seen. But as far as a template, hell no, I'm feeling my way along as we go.
There's a completely new roadmap. I mean, there's so many different formats that a family will take now, isn't there? I mean, we've got step families, we've got nuclear families, we've got all sorts of dynamics in families that it's not as clear as it was in past generations.
Every time I've tried to talk about things calmly, he's full of attitude, which then makes me angry, and then he gets angry, and
yeah, it just turns into a big fight and snowballs. And, you know, it comes to a point where there's no point talking to each other anymore.
Yeah, the biggest realisation I made was that there is nothing more important than love. You know, I can get a PhD, I can be the most successful psychologist in the world. He can run a successful company, build it up and be you know, successful in his career. But ultimately, if you've got no one to share it with, what does it all mean?
We did go through a process of trying to reconcile any differences we had, and we both tried incredibly hard. But somewhere along the line, I think, in my mind, and probably in Lan's as well, that, you know, we can care deeply about each other, but we might not necessarily be able to live together.
Hello, gorgeous.
She's got orange juice in there.
Oh, great up little girl.
I have the girls every Thursday night, so I get them after school and then I drop them back to school on Friday morning. And then every second weekend, from Saturday morning till Monday, and 50% of all the school holidays.
Hello, baby.
You know, we spent, I can't remember now, 8.5 years or something together, and had anticipated marriage and all that type of stuff.
So funny.
We went to counselling together, we talked about it for a long time. We tried to introduce different things, just spending time together to try and restore the relationship, but you can't maintain a relationship when two people are so focused in their own paths. You have to make the relationship the priority. I don't know what time. Yep, so the girls, you know, they haven't got school on Monday.
Yeah, no.
And so when, you know, Lan repartnered, no, there wasn't really any feelings of regret or I wish this wasn't happening. It was happiness for Lan, but it was just a little bit strange knowing that my children are going to... There's another family that's evolving. You know, it's not just me, Lan, Larry and Bijou.
Okay, have a good weekend. See you Monday, all right? New house.
Okay.
Okay. Bye. See ya.
I am feeling amazingly calm and peaceful because the person that I'm marrying is just an amazing man and I'm excited about our future together.
Did you get all those bits in the car?
Yeah, I haven't put the whiteboard in the car.
I better load the whiteboard.
All right.
Okay.
What's going to change that? I have been through it myself, and so when I do see people who are right in the midst of having recently divorced or separated, and they come in and see me, it's given me, enormous empathy and understanding of their situations. I know how hard it is. It's tough. It's really tough.
Sikhism is not about becoming a recluse. Sikhism is not about renunciation. Sikhism is about going out into the world and earning a living and helping those who are in need.
It's part of our religion, accepting others. But that doesn't mean you get married to them. Does it? Well, like I said, I mean, you have a right to be a contradiction yourself. You have every right to be. I will help a non-Sikh on equal terms with a Sikh. But I would marry a Sikh.
God inspired.
The man on stage now is Daya Singh. Daya Singh's my father. He is a world-renowned musician, singing around the world of multiculturalism, universal peace, truth, love for humanity. And the tool in which he does that is through his music. Obviously, Sikhism plays a huge part in my life, and as does the cultural influences from mum and dad.
I'm not a great advocate of mixed marriages. I really am not. Simply because the differences in culture do create problems with two separate communities. If it was the same culture, if it was a German and a French couple getting together, that culture is virtually similar. But in this case, it is a black and white situation, to put it bluntly. And not only that, an Asian culture with a European culture. Even though Andrew is such a nice person, but no, the initial reaction was, no, this is not the right way to go about it. And yes, I fell apart with Jamil completely on the issue.
Well, the only people I knew that was Sikh was Jamil and her family when I first met them. Obviously now I know a lot more. I'm Greek Orthodox, baptised and christened. I still go to church. When the kids come, we take them to the Greek church and stuff for all that as well, because they're all brought up as Greek Orthodox.
We come from two completely different worlds. It is not something easy for me or my wife to cope with.
At first, it was hard for him to accept it and all that, but at the same time, he still made the effort and he'll still talk.
I am coming to grips with it at the moment and accommodating it because Andrew happens to be a very nice person. And I can understand that it gives my daughter, Jamil, a second chance at happiness.
The relationship's now really good between me and Dad, where Jamil's mum is so different. I've tried everything.
Okay, that's Mother Teresa with mum there. That's mum with the Dalai Lama. This is actually mum in Amritsar in India. She loved Andrew when he was the employee. Andrew, can you take me to the market, please? Andrew, this light bulb needs to be changed. Andrew, actually, the colour on this wall, I think would be better if it was this colour, She met the Pope as well. Yeah, no, we met a lot of people. Andrew was the bee's knees. But as soon as she found out that Andrew and I were together, Oh, no, I don't like this man. Why, Mum? I just don't like this man. But after 3.5 years, we still haven't quite figured out why. She was nominated as Australian of the Year and stuff as well for her peace advocacy work. But this is the Millennium Peace Prize in London, working for global peace and religious tolerance.
Really, in our religion, divorce does not come into it. Because once you're married, and you make the most of the situation. Yet you are an individual. You must learn how to accommodate. So if my wife does not accept the situation, then she has that right to do that, as long as it does not create conflict.
Nice.
Beautiful.
She goes around the world preaching advocacy of unity of people and things like that. But she's not accepting it in her own backyard.
Usually when, you leave a marriage, you go through the whole grief process and things like that. I'd already done that. I'd done that probably 3 or 4 years before that. So by the time I left, there was no feeling there. There was nothing. I didn't hate him. I didn't care about him. He just didn't exist for me.
If two people aren't connecting with each other and not understanding each other's point of view, then it can be, issues about money, issues about sex life, issues about children.
And it just got to the point when my kids were about 2 and 3 years old where I just went, no, I can't live like this, because all we were doing was screaming and yelling at each other in the long run.
It's tough on everybody because there's always hope. I think there's always a sense, deep down there's a hope that we can work this out. It's hard to accept that, to let that go.
I decided, well, I'd rather my kids be brought up from a broken home rather than in a broken home.
We had the beautiful white wedding. We did all that stuff, and I had the flower girls and the red velvet thing and the pink, I did all the trendy colours, I did all that stuff. But I had this idea that I'd start home and have the kids and he'd go out to work, and yeah, it wouldn't be easy, but we'd get by. But we couldn't do any of it. It wasn't that it wasn't easy, we just couldn't manage at all. When I first moved to Dannevirke, this is the whare that me and my sons moved into. It's a small 2-bedroom, 1950s weatherboard state house. So the organisation I work for is called Manawatu, Supporting Families Affected by Mental Illness. And we reach out to people who are like yourself, really. I met my first husband when I was 21, and we got married, and we had 3 sons. He kept losing his jobs, places kept shutting down, and I kept getting pregnant, but I was the main income earner. So every time I'd have a baby, it was like just dreadful. It was too hard. And I wouldn't go on benefits. I hated benefits. Because it's only if they're under a compulsory treatment order can we keep them in a hospital. I went back to work full-time when my 3rd son was 10 months old, and I resented having to leave my babies at home to do that. So it was really, but I really wasn't aware enough and I wasn't brave enough to know that I didn't want to be in this marriage anymore, and I could be poor with my kids on my own easier than I could be in this marriage, which I was just unhappy with. It wasn't even about him, just the whole economic situation. I couldn't cope. I worked and studied, that's what I did as a solo mum, and then discovered that, wow, this is great being single, and, there was all this other side of me that was allowed to blossom. And I just lost tons of weight. I couldn't get over it. It's like I dropped 60 kilos altogether. I just dropped, and I was the smallest, and I was walking and running half marathons, and I got to that in about a year. That's when I met Horowaisde. And he seemed very safe and very kind, and I thought he was single. His last wife lived in Rotorua, and he said he was separated, and it all seemed very above board. Don't get pregnant. Mistresses don't get pregnant. That's really dumb. That's like you're breaking a really big rule. But when you didn't really know you were one, it's really sad. As badly as it started and as much dishonesty and deceit and stupidity, that's how it ended. I felt humiliated, I felt caught out, I felt stripped. Because the Māori community's beautiful, but you don't go around stuffing up that badly and not think that people aren't going, God, that was really dumb, Claudia, you know.
I had a few ideas there was somebody in Dannevirke that was special. Driving back from my sister's place and turning around the corner, knew there was something different about the street, and she'd moved in.
And then one day he drove past in this black car and I went, oh, who's that? That was it.
And so that was the first part of being aware of, somebody else down the street, not knowing that, we're going to get together later on in life.
You put your down first.
I'm always up for a challenge and I'm always there to help. And Andrew was very bitter and very angry with his ex. And at that time, I thought it was about him now, knowing that that's the way it is, get on with it, and you need to now be a friend to the mother of your children.
Probably 2 years ago, I didn't get to see the kids for a whole year. Some dramas had started and so I had to go to Perth and we sent a family psychologist to interview the kids and both parents. I spoke to the psychologist myself first and the kids were coming. He was going to interview them with me as well. And I started getting nervous, obviously. I hadn't seen my kids and butterflies were there and the body was sort of shaking and the worst part is when you want to see your kids, you just want to give them a kiss and a cuddle because you haven't seen them for so long. But I was told to just sit in the corner in the room. The kids all walked in the door and he said, let the kids acknowledge you. That's how bad it was. So I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what I'd done wrong. It was really, really hard. So, yeah, I don't wish it upon anybody.
I think it's soul destroying for a parent to experience that. You know, I see the heartbreak, the depth of love that parents feel for their children is profound. And when that love is threatened by not seeing those children, it has an enormous impact on people, you know, whether it's a mum or a dad. I see that in both cases.
And we are now heading back to Melbourne. This afternoon we're going to go to the new house, unpack the cars, pick up the kids from school, and then head home, get changed, go to Dandenong, perform in Dandenong, and then we'll see what happens after that.
You know, one of our arguments is Andrew's saying to me, oh, you need to work out your priorities. You need to get your priorities right.
Because I think that time with family is really important.
And from...
Where I've learnt that lesson from the first time around.
Yeah.
How are you?
What's that from?
Are you going good?
Good. One more kiss. Love you. All right, jump in the car. Let's go.
My priorities aren't not my children, but it's the priorities of the way in which I need to provide for my children. I gave them everything the first 5, 6 years of their lives. Everything. And then they got taken away from me by no fault of mine. The children now spend 1 week with him and 1 week with me.
We're going to have lots of fun this weekend. Got a new house.
Oh, yeah.
So do I spend the rest of my life worrying about the time I've got with my children, or do I need to take a step towards me?
but she's gonna come back this week. Yeah. Yeah, she only came back for at the end of the day, and then she gave us some chocolate.
I had Sahil in 2001, so I was 24, and then I had Safa when I was 25 in 2002.
We're staying at my in-laws at the moment. As you can see, there's so much happiness. The kids are back. I love it.
This is Safal Singh, and what's Mummy doing to you now?
Making a juda.
Making a juda. And why am I making a juda?
Because.
Because what?
I'm sick.
Because you're sick. Fantastic, you are.